10 early SummerSlam predictions. Number 10. Sasha Banks vs Bayley. WWE has been teasing pulling the trigger on this feud since before WrestleMania 34, and yet there still hasn't been a Sasha Banks and Bayley match. Despite the obvious tension that has been displayed between the former best friends, the fact there were so many matches on the Mania card likely played a big factor in why this didn't take place at the grandest stage of them all. But with WWE still teasing the situation, surely it has to happen at SummerSlam. Bayley and Banks came to blows recently, and this could lead to the match kicking off officially at Extreme Rules. But a major singles match between them at SummerSlam would be a great addition to the card, and knowing how good matches between them can be, it is one that needs to happen. Number 9. Dean Ambrose returns. Dean Ambrose hasn't been seen on WWE television since December of 2017, when he suffered a tricep injury, costing him his WrestleMania spot and months of his career. But the lunatic fringe isn't too far away from making a grand return. The former WWE champion has been spotted at the WWE Performance Center lately, and if that's the case, then it's likely he is close to being back to full fitness, which will be a great boost to whichever roster he ends up joining. WWE will likely want to keep Ambrose returnn for a major moment, given his star power, so SummerSlam seems like the perfect location to make that grand return. Whether that's coming as a heel, to take someone out, or to help a fallen brother, the former Shield man could very likely pop up at SummerSlam. Number 8. Cedric Alexander vs Lio Rush. The Cruiserweight talent have struggled to get on any pay-per-view cards as of late, with the last 205 Live match on a pay-per-view being the WrestleMania kickoff match between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, which is one of the better matches of the evening. If you haven't been watching 205 Live, the product has improved leaps and bounds, with some of the recent matches being contenders for Match of the Year within the company, and their hard work deserves some reward. The Cruiserweight champion seems to be set for a small feud with the Tammy coming up. But following on from that 205 Live's newest signing, Lio Rush could be the next challenger, and giving him that shot at SummerSlam, even if it's a pre-show match, would be a lot of fun, with some high pace and high flying action that would be different to anything else on the show. Number 7. Kurt Angle competes. When it comes to the two biggest shows of the year, WrestleMania and SummerSlam, WWE loves to pull out all the stops in order to make the shows as must-see as possible, and that is why a lot of the part-time talent end up being used in some fashion. The likes of Triple H, Shane McMahon, and The Undertaker are often names WWE calls upon, and they will likely do the same at SummerSlam. But with the current Raw General Manager, Kurt Angle, who's another major name that fans love to see in action every now and then, WWE is currently pushing a storyline of Stephanie McMahon judging everything he does from afar, using Baron Corbin to convey her message. This story could come to its climax at SummerSlam, potentially with Angle's GM role on the line. Number 6. Becky Lynch gets her moment. At Money in the Bank, the entire WWE universe was behind one woman to become Miss Money in the Bank, and that was Becky Lynch. Every time she climbed the ladder, the fans erupted, but it just wasn't to be for the Irish Lass Kicker. Even though she didn't capture the briefcase at that moment, there's no way that WWE management didn't take notice to the reactions that Lynch was receiving from the crowd, and her story of being the person who comes so close but doesn't capture the title has come to an end at some point. That point could very well be SummerSlam, where Lynch should be given the SmackDown Women's Championship match, whether that be against Asuka or Carmella, and WWE would be smart to put the belt back on Lynch. Number 5. The SmackDown tag title scene brings the chaos. Ever since Harper and Rowan picked up the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships, they have seemed totally unstoppable, with no team even coming close to providing competition for the former Wyatt family members. They have been dominant figures on the Blue brand, running through everyone in sight in destructive fashion. However, brand new roster member Sanity might just look to change that, as they aim to bring the chaos to the main roster. A match for the tag titles certainly makes sense for SummerSlam, if it's built correctly. It would be a very tough one to call. Give them a stipulation and at least 15 minutes, and let them create pure carnage. Number 4. Roman Reigns vs Brock Lesnar. It might not be what you want to hear, but there's a very distinct possibility that one of SummerSlam's main event matches will be Roman Reigns vs Brock Lesnar for the 4th time, as the big dog once again looks to gain the Universal Championship. If WWE actually has the guts to go ahead with this decision, then more power to them. But there's no doubt that the fans will be totally against the idea of seeing these two men, even before the bell rings for the match. With Lesnar's future in WWE in doubt, this could be the time the company finally gives Reigns the big win, picking up the Universal Championship for the first time in his career to the sounds of boos around the arena. Number 3. Ronda Rousey becomes champion. Ever since Ronda Rousey has arrived in WWE, she has brought the huge star power that everyone hoped she would, but also brought a skill level that nobody quite expected, putting on 2 incredible matches so far, surpassing anyone's expectations. Rousey stole the show at WrestleMania, and there's no doubt she's going to be in a marquee match at SummerSlam as well. With the current booking, it is very likely that will be for the Women's Championship against Alexa Bliss. People might not have liked the idea at first, but putting the title on the former UFC star makes perfect sense, building Ronda as the top star in the division all the way to a major showdown with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Number 2. Daniel Bryan vs The Miz. If WWE is going to give fans Roman Reigns vs Brock Lesnar once again at SummerSlam, then the company will certainly have to give the fans something else to keep the hardcore fans happy who'll be traveling from around the world for the show. At WrestleMania, they provided AJ Styles vs Shinsuke Nakamura, but at SummerSlam, the match everyone wants to see is Daniel Bryan vs The Miz. The match fans have been waiting for years, since their Talking Smack feud. WWE has done a smart job in holding off this match until a big event, rather than just throwing it at fans straight away and building to a major SummerSlam match to kickstart their feud once again, which would more than make up for the Lesnar battling Reigns. Number 1. The Universal Championship gets these hands. It is likely that the next time Brock Lesnar defends his Universal Championship will be at SummerSlam, as WWE will want to utilize the Beast on one of the biggest shows of the year. But this could also be his last WWE event in the upcoming future, with UFC potentially on the horizon for him. If that is the case, then the biggest party of the summer is looking like the time when he will drop the title, which he has held since WrestleMania 33 when he defeated Goldberg. But that defeat might not come against whoever his original opponent is. Brock Lesnar could easily end up defeating whoever he faces at SummerSlam, only to end up having to battle a monster afterwards. That's right, SummerSlam is potentially the place where Braun Strowman finally gets his crowning moment and becomes a new Universal Champion, cashing in his Money in the Bank and being the one to defeat Lesnar.